well, what does that mean? Right. And so I feel like I've always been pushing it out further and further and further. And I feel like now is the time where it's coming back to me like, oh, this is maybe what I meant, but how much have I missed? Like for real. So I feel like that's one that I've struggled with.
What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Schooling Struggle Podcast. It is our belief that the only guarantee in life is that we are all going to struggle. And how we choose to embrace our struggles is what empowers us to become the best versions of ourselves. What is going on? My name is Pete, coming to you from Heartland, Vermont, and with me is my friend and co-host, Todd Ellis. What's up, Todd?
What's up, Peter? How's it going?
Man, I got to tell you, I absolutely loved doing the former student tour over the course of the summer, interviewing and bringing on former students of mine to talk about whatever it is that they wanted to talk about. And I feel like everyone we brought on had kind of a different story or a different struggle to share.
Yeah.
And I just really, really, really enjoyed it. So I just
Are we done with the tour?
We are done with the tour. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I decided to do it over the summer, and we are now well into the fall, well into the school year. We're going to get back to having guests that are not former students of mine. We have a pretty cool list of stuff going on.
Sweet.
But mixed in there will obviously be sessions with just you and I, and that's what we have going on tonight. And I really look forward to when it's just you and I on the mic often. I get a little bit more nervous when we bring someone else on, and I don't feel like I totally have my ducks in a row yet for interviewing people and giving it my best when other people are on, and when it's just the two of us, and just incredibly comfortable.
Oh, so I think you do a great job interviewing.
Yeah. Thanks. The goal for us is just to have fun with this show, and I have a blast with this show, and I don't look at the analytics often, but the show has really been steadily growing over the last couple of months. Yeah, and it's really neat to see. So
I haven't looked at it in a long time. Are there Washingtonians on there?
Yeah, I think Washington is the fourth biggest listening state by the numbers.
I better get to work.
What's really cool to me is that maybe we'll bring someone on who has a following, and that episode will introduce new people to the show, which is, part of the reason why podcasts bring other people on to interview. But what's neat is analytics are showing that people are going back and listening to the early episodes and then kind of working their way through. So the episodes with the most listens are still by far our very early episodes. So it doesn't seem to me like it's a lot of one and done episodes that people are just listening to one. They're kind of going back and listening to more. And our family of listeners continues to grow, and the feedback that we're getting from the show is awesome. So I'm super psyched about
That's awesome.
The fact that it's going on. And I really, truly love it. Like, I've had a really, really busy, crazy day, and I'm sitting chatting with you, and it just calms me down. And it's something that I find myself really looking forward to each week. So thanks for carving out the time.
Yeah. Peaceful, easy feeling. Take a breath. Take a breath.
Holy crap. I was listening to James Taylor this morning when I was working out.
No, you were not.
Yeah. My pre 6 a.m. workouts have a lot of Cat Stevens, a a lot of Elton John, and a lot of James Taylor. Yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. The owner of our previously CrossFit gym, now 138 strength and conditioning, listens to James Taylor all the time. Like, I would come in and she'd be lifting. I'm like, what are you listening to? She's like, James Taylor's the best.
Yeah, that'd be me.
Yep.
So one of my favorite episodes or formats of episodes that we do is a 5x5. And we've been trying to get to this one for a while. On September 5th, I sent you a list of questions, and here we are a month plus later.
Yeah, welcome to fall.
And we're going to get into it tonight. So quick reminder, or for first timers, a 5x5 for us is 5 questions and a combined total of 5 minutes of us giving our responses to the questions, which averages out to about 2.5 minutes apiece. We do not keep a timer, so we're not held to the buzzer, but we try to keep it close in that range. So 5x5. We will alternate who goes first. 5 questions for your listening enjoyment. Todd, do you want to go first, or do you want to go second for the first question?
I was looking for a coin so I could flip.
Try to flip a coin.
You choose. Your choice. Just so you know, I've done 0 research.
First question is, what is the single most important factor or thing that one can do to sustain a high quality relationship and or marriage? You want it, or you want to send it over?
I don't even care. I have a winded, multifaceted, as always, response. But communication is the key to that. So knowing what your partner thinks and knowing where each of the entities in the relationship lie on all of the things that are important to you and them as a couple, especially like if it's of the relationship, I think those are key, right? Like, and I suck at this. I'm terrible at, well, I have been historically terrible at communicating. I'm working on a lot more now, but I think that if you can get over yourself feeling uncomfortable for telling somebody exactly how you feel, that's the best way to start with communicating in a marriage. And I think that even a marriage or just a quality relationship with anybody, it could be, just friends or whatever, but don't leave out what you mean to say when you mean to say it. Just swallow the pill and go for it. And I think that's the best policy going forward. Obviously, if it's honesty, I mean, that's the best policy, but just being clear and concise and willing to share your opinion and communicate that openly, I think is the biggest key I've found. How about you?
Awesome. I think my response is one that is very, very common. So I'm going to share that, but then I'm going to share one that I've come up with kind of on my own.
Ooh,
One that I think that I absolutely 100% agree with, and that is that every relationship moves at the speed of trust.
Yeah.
So that is one of the single most important things, is a level of trust. And it's really interesting as a high school teacher to see these high school relationships kind of manifest, and the amount of trust issues with these high school relationships these kids have with one another.
Is there a speed of trust? Like, when you say that, I wonder, like, from the observation point that you're talking about, do you see trust get earned and then get taken away? So it's like how the medium of trust is.
When I say every relationship moves at the speed of trust, I take that, and I didn't invent that. I heard that from someone much more intelligent than I am. I take that as like the relationship can only grow or enhance as the trust grows and enhances. Okay. And if trust does not grow, then the relationship is not going to grow.
Yeah. Okay.
Or the bond will not strengthen. Yeah, it can stay stagnant. So I definitely think that is without question one of the most integral parts of any relationship, be it intimate relationship or anything, professional, familial, family. But I think that one of the more underrated pieces of a quality relationship is that the two individuals, we'll keep it old school and conservative, a relationship with two people.
Right. It's easier for
that. That each person is willing to put in the same amount of effort. And I think if you have two people and one person feels they're putting in more work into the relationship, that's when resentment starts to build.
Yep.
And then once you get a little hole in the dike, like more start to poke up, and then the dam breaks and the water's everywhere. So like, I think if I think of like two people that are crazy career driven, right? And they get married and they give the same amount of attention to their careers, and then they give the same amount of attention to each other that they feel works. I think that can result in a very, very fulfilling relationship. Whereas you have someone who's really, really career driven with somebody who isn't. Not that being career driven is not a positive thing, but they want to put more into the relationship. One person wants to put more into the relationship.
It's lopsided, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can have someone who's like crazy career driven, and then the person on the other side can have other interests, as long as the amount of effort, the amount of perceived effort for themselves and their partner is equal. I think you're going to be good to go.
Yeah. Goes back to communication. like if you don't say, hey, I'm really focused on my career, instead of how much, matching the amount that you're putting in, that you feel like you're putting into a relationship. If you never have that conversation, then that's it, like, that's where the resentment starts, right? Like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, that's what I found is,
and that can really carry over anything. Think of like teammates,
for sure,
either in the work or on the field or anything. So, if you feel the people around you or the person that you're committing with is putting in the same amount of effort as you, I think it's much more likely for the sustainability of that relationship.
Yeah. Pull your weight. Good call.
Okay. Number 2, what is something you have learned the hard way recently?
That's you.
So we are in the 5th week of school now, and the first 3 weeks I was really struggling. I had a hard time switching my routine from my summer routine back to school, but it wasn't just the actual routine. I just felt like I just wasn't bringing it like to school. Like my students were not getting out of me what they deserved. I was much more short-tempered with my wife and my daughter than I'd ever want to be. And I just couldn't figure it out. I started second guessing my career choices, and
wow.
I almost felt like I was starting to have like some kind of midlife crisis. And I was having some really deep conversations with some people that I trust. I was like, what is going on with me? Like, what is my deal? And then I just took a moment one day. I think I was mowing the lawn, and I thought, if someone were to come to you and ask and lay this scenario out to you, what would you tell them? And when someone tells me things are off in their life, the first things I go to are physiological. So I ask them about their sleep and their hydration. And I was like, all right, then I'm going to start there. I am going to commit to going to bed at this time, and I'm going to commit at getting up at this time. And no matter how wide awake I am at night, I'm still going to bed early. And no matter how tired I am in the morning, I'm still getting up early. And it was really uncomfortable for about 3 days. And then I started to recalibrate. And the science shows that the single best thing we can do for sleep is to go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time every day, like 365 days a year with 8 to
Did not
9
know that.
hours in between those two times, right? And about 4 days later, I just started to feel better. And I kept with it and kept with it. And like a week later, I just kind of like felt like back to myself. I just think my sleep routine was so off. And because my sleep routine was off, everything else was off. So I think it's not that I learned that lesson the hard way. I relearned that lesson the hard
Yeah.
way. And that was a really good reminder to me. Like, I really need to prioritize my routine and my sleep. And that's a great place for me to start when I start to feel off. Take a look at my sleep, my commitment to sleep, and how that's manifesting in my life.
That's a good one. That plays thank you for sharing that, because that plays a good role in my not my answer that I had pre-thought out, because I didn't, but as you were saying that, we were talking before the show, and it's the same thing with me. Like, I'm very cyclical in the way that things get out of whack, and then I realize it, and then I scatter. No, that's not the real word. I'll think of it in a minute, but I scramble. That's the word. I scramble to try to figure out, like, which lever should I pull to get the biggest bang for my buck to get back to normal. And so seeing that, though, is very hard. And so that's interesting. You're mowing the lawn and then it just pops in there, this moment of insight, like, I should go back to the base level. So I wonder if for you, like, has this happened before and you were like, sleep? Or is it just you were asking people and they hinted to it, or you just recounted it in your head and you're like, oh, sleep, I should start there at the easiest base class? Is that how that went?
Yeah, I was just thinking if someone came to me and shared with me what I've been sharing with my friends, nobody was saying to me, "Oh, you should consider sleep."
Yeah.
They were just kind of listening to me kind of talk about. It seemed like a much bigger issue than that, and I think I just needed to kind of go back to the basics. And
Interesting.
it's just kind of sharing what I've learned with others and actually applying it to my life in this instance.
Yeah. It's funny. We always come back to that, isn't it? We talk about this all the time, but then we get lost in the same fog that everybody else gets lost in. Like, oh yeah, maybe I should start
Yeah.
over. That's exactly, or like
Yeah,
you said,
I
begin
have this
again.
podcast and I say
Yeah.
these things, but I don't actually do them. But and then the other thing for me is hydration, and it's like if I'm hydrated. So what I've just the tricky part for me, especially with the kidney stones and all that, is I need to stay hydrated. But if I drink a lot before bed, I'm just peeing all night
Yeah.
long.
Same.
So where's the happy medium there? Like, I want to sleep well, but I also want to be hydrated. So what I've just committed to doing or decided to do is just load up on water to about 2 p.m. all day, and then just start to pull back and not have a ton after 2 p.m. So I feel hydrated, my pee is clear, I feel energized, and then I can sleep through the night with only like 1 or 2 pees.
Yeah. When you go all the way back, when you reset, do you intentionally reset? Like, I know you're pretty scheduled, so, or regimented. So do you just go, okay, I'm pulling this back to 8 o'clock. This is where I'm going to start, and then everything else, you just build the habits on top of each other and just rebuild them.
Yep.
Is that how that
Yep.
works?
So I went to Doug Anton, my buddy, who's been on the podcast a couple of times. I said, "Hey, I need someone to hold me accountable." He's like, "All right." He's like, "I need someone to hold me accountable too." So we each made a
Accountability
daily.
buddies. Yeah.
Yep. And I have 5 checks. So I get 3 checks at night and then 2 checks in the morning. The goal is to have a 5-check day.
Uh-huh.
So I need to make my lunch before bed, because if I make my lunch in the morning, it's just too much of a scramble. So I have to make my lunch at night. I hate making my lunch. Like, my life is so privileged, and I'm so blessed that, like, one of the worst parts of my day is making lunch the next day. And I see why most people don't. But anyway, I have to make lunch. I have to do a stretch or a mobility session that's 10 minutes or more, and I have to have what I call BIB, body in bed, by 9:20.
Okay.
And then I was having trouble getting up early when school was starting, just because my summer schedule is going to bed later. Yeah. And then I have to wake up. I have to get up on first alarm, no snooze, none of that, at 5:50, and I have to do a 40-minute workout before I have breakfast before I go to school. So,
and what's the mechanism for keeping yourself accountable? Like, you check in with Doug daily?
Yeah, and we have a sheet hanging on the wall, and I have to like, I literally put the checks on the wall.
Yeah.
And he has some stuff that he's working on too.
That's
and my
cool.
goal is to go 25 for 25 during the school week, 5 checks, 5 days. Yeah. And I did that last week. I got 25 checks last week. So, and things just started to feel better. Yeah.
Cool. Do you have a reward system, or you just know you did it?
The first time I set up a check sheet, I had a reward system. This one, I don't. But having to look Doug in the eye and say I didn't get the checks is
that's the reward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, the other thing that I've learned the hard way recently is if you really go to find a job in the field that you used to have a job in, it's not as easy as it used to be. Like I was like, no problem, I get a job. I really tried. No,
Yeah.
that's not even the case. I was just screwing around. Like, oh, I'll meet the criteria for the unemployment benefit, right? Like, oh, it's like three resumes a week or contact. You know, they have like it's pretty ambiguous, but three attempts to contact an employer per week, and then that unlocks the monetary money that you get from the state. And I was like, yeah, well, three's not a lot, but I hear other people like, man, I put in like 400, 500 resumes, in the last 6 months. I'm like, that is a lot. And so last week I actually like endeavored to make it happen. And I put in 12 or 15 legit resume like applications, ghosted by everybody. I couldn't even believe it. I was like, what?
Wow.
Yeah. So when they say it's saturated, they mean it's saturated. I didn't think it was that bad. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been pretty eye opening
Huh.
for the hard way, or maybe it was
Yeah.
just the lazy way, I suppose. But yeah.
Huh.
Anyways, yeah,
Interesting.
indeed.
Number 3.
Three.
What is one travel tip or hack that you do that you feel most travelers do not?
I'm not a very frequent traveler.
What? I
Well, I
designed
mean,
this
like
question
I'm no
because you've been
world
on enough
traveler.
planes. You've been on more planes than anyone I know in the last 6 months.
Here's one thing I do that I think is pretty cool and other people don't get. When I travel, I usually travel pretty light. Like if I'm going somewhere for a week, I will take a week of sets of clothes, right? But what I do is I'll lay out a set of jeans, put a shirt on top, put my boxers on there, put the socks, and I roll it as tight as I can, and I shove it in my backpack. And then as I go, I just rip through these rolls and I bring them out every day. This time I noticed though, it looks a bit frumpy because I always like it's always just like completely wrinkled and I don't really care. So I'm like, huh. But I rarely check baggage and I can put everything in there. And another thing that I do that most travelers may not is when I go somewhere before I leave, I wash all of the clothes if I have the ability to do so in a short succession. So everything that I've worn, I'll wash and put back the exact same way. And then when I get home, I just unroll everything and put it back in my closet.
You wash it while you're on the road?
Yeah. 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 I do.
That's crazy.
Yep.
I have a friend who he builds into the cost of his trip to have a cleaning crew come and clean his house while he's gone.
Ooh,
So I
that's
think
kind of
that
nice.
is a really cool thing. Like it's
Yeah.
not like you have to, I don't know. It's just built in as part of the trip. So it's actually like whatever, $200. We're gonna go on this trip. This trip, has cost an extra $200, but every time we come home, our house is immaculate. So I
Spanking.
think
Yeah, that's
that's
cool.
pretty cool. The rolling of the clothes. I had a friend whose father was in the military, and she showed me how when they travel, they roll each individual piece up super tight. So you
Mhm.
roll your shirt up super tight, and you can fit a ton of shirts in like a small bag.
So many.
And contrary to what you said, in this style, when you open it up, there's no creases or anything. It's like clean, like there's
Uh,
no wrinkles or anything. So that's really cool. But one that I do that I don't know if I've never talked to anyone about this. I don't know why anybody would, but because of my back gets tight, I have a back pillow. But I also like to bring like a regular size pillow, and I also like to bring a lot of food when I go on a plane. So I get one of those like reusable grocery bags.
oh, you mean like the cloth one? Like the
Yeah,
yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah,
cloth one with the
yeah. I know
handles.
what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yep.
Yep. And I put my back pillow, my pillow in there, and a bunch of food. And then when I set up, I have my backpack that has all like my headphones and my book and all that stuff. And that goes under the seat in front of me.
Yep.
But then my back pillow comes out, my pillow comes out, and then I put all the food up above because I eat a lot when I travel.
How
And
much
then
food are we talking
just
about?
during the flight, I can just open up the bin above me
Yeah.
and just reach into the bag because it's super accessible. I don't have to unzip anything and just grab like 2 apples or
Huh.
grab the thing of trail mix or whatever it is.
Nice.
Like I loathe spending money on airport food. A
Yeah.
because it's so crappy and B because it's so expensive.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So yeah, I pack a lot of food when I travel, just
Ah,
more like to save money. It was always hard. It was like, how do I bring all this stuff and how do I access my food that's like in there with like my book and my
yeah.
iPad and my
Crunching
headphones
around,
and
trying to
my eye
dig.
mask and all these things. And now it's just like, oh my gosh, I can just put it in like a shopping bag and no worries. So
Nice work. I learned something I
yeah.
didn't know at the Salt Lake City, Utah airport the other day. It's a bit of a sidebar, but it only takes a second. Recently, when I was a kid, my mother would boil Brussels sprouts, and it was the absolute worst thing on earth. Like I would hide
Mm.
them in my milk. I would go to great lengths to get rid of the Brussels sprout count on my plate. Never successful because she always knew. But anyways, I went to the airport, and recently, I don't know, last 5 years or so, there's restaurants around here where they have roasted root vegetables, but roasted Brussels sprouts. And I started getting them. I'm like, man, these are not bad. Like I could definitely eat these. So I got to the airport and there was roasted Brussels sprouts with some sort of poblano pepper sauce or whatever. And I'm thinking to myself, there was like $9. And I'm like, was I going to be like, what? Like one cut in half? Like, what's I going to be? And the guy was like, no, it's actually a fair amount. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I get it. He brings out like this half, almost a half sheet. You know what a whole sheet cake is, right? Like a
I'm just
giant
laughing.
sheet cake.
The listeners can't do this, but you're holding your hands like
Oh,
2 feet apart from each other.
yeah, I could not believe the size. It was bigger than my laptop. And this thing was mounded with Brussels sprouts. And he's like, you know the thing about Brussels sprouts? And I'm like, no. He's like, they genetically modified them about 15 or 20 years ago so they don't have that pungent taste because nobody would eat
Oh,
them. And I was like, are you
interesting.
kidding me? He's like, yeah, they're
Huh.
all genetically modified because they taste better. And I was like, that must have been it. Now I like
Fun
Brussels
facts.
sprouts.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
I don't know if it's a
interesting.
fact. I didn't check it, but
Huh.
he was hell bent on telling me that. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting point of knowledge. So, yeah,
Speaking of my buddy Doug, I asked him this question just because he travels a lot. And he's really he's a really thoughtful dude, and he has some. Oh gosh, I don't remember what it was called. And I asked him 4 times to clarify for me. But he has like a Google extension that when he searches flights, it calculates the leg room. So whenever he looks at a flight, it always shows him how much leg room is on the flight of
for the seat he chooses.
Yeah.
That's
pretty cool.
Is he tall? He strikes me as a tall guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he's well over 6 feet. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Number 4. When I say this, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Without difficulty, progress is impossible.
It's yours.
This is one of the very first things that you share with me when we first started having correspondence. It was deeper than like, hey, how's it going?
So
you shared that with me very early on. What comes to my mind when I think about this is my daughter's piano lessons. We in no way have any plans for our daughter to be some great concert pianist. We don't think that she's ever going to materialize as a musician, but we have her take piano lessons and she practices 15 minutes of piano every single night for one reason only. It's friggin' hard.
Yeah.
And we want her to be faced with a hard thing every day. There's research that shows neurological connections and what it does for the brain if kids learn to play instruments and the mind-body connection and the proprioception and all these different things. But for Jen and I, and it's really Jen's the one that kind of has to face the wrath of it every night for 15 minutes. But we want her to be comfortable with doing the hard thing. And I don't think we should not do something because it's hard. Like, I don't want that to be the reason why I don't do something. If there's other reasons why I don't want to do it, that's fine. But I don't want to not do something simply because it's hard. And I'm trying to teach her that without difficulty, there is no progress. And it's really neat to see now she's been playing for like 2 years and she's starting to like enjoy it, but it's taken battles for 15 minutes every night for 2 years to get to this point. And I just want her to see to do the hard thing is a worthwhile endeavor.
Yeah. Does she know that's the purpose?
I think of. Yep. We tell her like, yep, you're going to do the hard, and we talk about that at school too. Like, yep, you're going to do the hard thing. If for no other reason than it's hard, and it's going to equip you to be able to do hard things later on. And people that do hard things feel better about themselves and live more fulfilled and purposeful lives.
That's very cool. Yeah. I kind of live by a mantra that's very close to that. And that might be what you're talking about is without challenge, there can be no change. And I learned that when I first started CrossFit, and it wasn't in the CrossFit, in the physical part of CrossFit, but it was in the eating part of CrossFit. So we did a eating challenge and we won it. And that was kind of like their catchphrase. And it stuck with me because I'd never done anything like that where it was like, yeah, what, I can't have any sweeteners? Like, come on, what are we talking about? Right? And I thought that would never be a challenge. And then I was like, wow. And then at the end of it was there was so much beneficial change. Like it was just like the catalyst to all of the things that kind of came after that, both physically and the way that I approach things nutritionally. But that was the first thing that came to mind is that like kind of that mantra and that how that's kind of underpinned a lot of the things I do. And I didn't used to be that way. I remember when I quit smoking, I used to run all the time. So I've always had like, the backstory playing in my head, like, oh, that's hard, but whatever. But I never purposefully did it that way. So yeah, I think that's apt.
Yeah. I think if we can just carve out time to do at least one hard thing every day, you can define hard however you want. It can be mental, take a cold shower, it can be, have a tough conversation with someone, whatever. I think it's really helpful for us in the long run.
Yeah. Do you catch yourself? Even still, like that's hard. Shut up. Get back to work. you got to do it.
Yes, and for me, it's stuff like it's just stuff I don't want to do. Right, it's like shoulder rehab, groin rehab. Like when I have these nagging injuries, like that's part of my 10 minutes every night.
PT,
is
no good.
it's easy to just not do 10 minutes at night. But if
Yeah,
I do 10 minutes every night for a week, that's 70 minutes.
yeah,
And that's significant over the
yeah,
course of a week, never mind over the course of a month. And then you stack that into a year.
yeah.
Like my
And if
shoulders
you
are
never
in
start,
such better shape if I do 10 minutes a night than if I did 0 minutes a night.
yeah, yeah,
You
that's
know?
true. Yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day too. As a matter of fact, like if you never begin, like you're saying, like it does stack up. And watching my parents, it was funny because it was like at some point they thought there's no utility in starting now. Like I
Mm,
could like they didn't say it aloud, but like you could definitely see that mindset. Like, well, I'm already this far gone. Who really cares? And I'm sure there'll be a point
yeah.
where I'm getting the same position. But having that mindset, I think though, is definitely helpful. Like I know it's going to suck for a minute, but this will be beneficial overall. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of like getting back to my sleep thing. Like, oh, just getting up earlier than I wanted to when I just felt awful
Yeah.
but it's just like, no, this will pay off. But in the moment, it does
Yeah.
suck.
You must have got way out of whack because you always struck me as an early riser.
So I figure you're going to bring that up. And amongst my circle, I am known as an early riser, and I did the early rising thing for 7 years. And then because I had all those injuries working out at 4:30 in the morning, I just thought I wasn't warmed up. So if you recall, last school year, I did a complete switch and put my daughter to bed, did all the house chores, and started working out at 8:30 at night.
Yeah.
So I worked out from 8:30 at night till 10:30 at night, thinking I had the whole day to warm up. I roll and stretch with my students all day, and it was just another strategy for me to mitigate injury, and it worked. I absolutely did not get injured like I was when I was working out at 4:30 in the morning in a cold basement or a cold garage. Just as I'm getting older, it just takes forever to warm up.
Yeah.
So
Welcome.
it worked, but I started going to bed at 10:30 every night, and then getting up at 6:30, which is still 8 hours. But I don't want to go to bed that late, and now I'm just splitting the difference and doing half the workout in the morning and then half after school, which is a little bit more
What do you do in the
doable.
morning? The Metcon or the strength?
The morning is all upper body stuff.
Oh,
And then the after school is the lower body stuff because I
Oh,
don't
wow.
need as much warm up for the upper body stuff. From June to Thanksgiving, just full strength
Really?
sesh.
Nice. Huh.
Yep,
Interesting.
because that's where I got buried last year in the competition. So I'm going to try to make
Does
a
that
switch.
impact your bottom line, or is your motor usually pretty strong? No
We'll
matter
find
what.
out. It's an experiment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll see.
You know what they say? Cardio takes months, strength takes years. Like
Yeah.
I haven't committed to strength. I'm just so weak. But
Yeah.
I've made really, really great gains in the last 3 months, and I'm
Way to
really
go.
This is the strongest I've ever been in my life right now.
Good job,
Yeah.
Swolverine.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
I don't think I'd run a quarter of a mile, but we'll see. We'll see what happens when everything switches. Day after Thanksgiving, I start getting the heart rate up.
Oh, turkey
we'll see.
trot for you,
We'll
my
see.
friend. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Number 5.
Final question. Name an admirable habit that someone you know has implemented in their life, but you, for whatever reason, have not. You look like you're thinking really hard.
Yeah,
You want me to go?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought long and hard about this one, and there's a number of people in my life that are doing some really cool things that I just am not doing. But I think the one that I want to take on is my younger brother is really great at turning off his phone when he's spending time with his family. And he's a business owner. He owns his own business, and his phone, when I get together with him for a holiday, is like I glance at his phone. He has 74 unopened texts. And there's those two type of people in this world: the people that have tons of unopened emails and texts, and then those that have zero. And I'm the zero. Like my inbox is always checked and empty.
Yeah.
And I love it when I call him and it just goes right to voicemail, or I text him and he doesn't respond to me for 6 hours because I know that he's prioritizing what he deems the most important. And I really, really struggle with that.
Huh.
I love it when I text someone and they don't text me back for a long, long time.
Really?
Maybe even a couple days, because they have their priorities in line. Like they are not prioritizing their phone. I feel like there's a time when if people can get back to you, it could annoy you. But on the opposite, it's if the person doesn't get back to me, I'm so jealous of them because they're doing what I think is probably more important than emailing or texting.
Well, now I'm gonna have to never answer any of your texts. Yeah, I can't really think of anything. I don't know why. Nothing comes to mind. This is rare for me because usually I have all kinds of things popping into my head.
Do you need to surround yourself with better role models?
I don't know. I don't, but
to be fair, of the 5 questions, I had to think about this one the longest.
Yeah, right. Well, and you wrote the 5 questions, so that's also to be fair. But
I think I've asked you this in a past 5x5, but let me re-ask. What is a habit that you, for whatever reason, have not implemented in your life that in a perfect world would be a part of your life?
I don't know if it would be I guess it would be a habit, but I could be a way better parent. I have a hard time understanding what that, all of the kind of like the sleep thing, right? Like, where's the baseline of where to start being a good parent? You know what I mean? It's like
Oh my
goes
gosh,
up
I
real
have
fast
no
because
clue.
there's yeah, well, there's so many variables, like a parent of who, a parent of, in which way, like of what age, like, and I know there's probably chapters of habits around that, but I feel like that's one of the buses that I've missed, and I feel like I'm getting better at it the older I get. I'm definitely getting better at it the older I get, but I think that's because my kids aren't always here to piss me off. Like they're not
Yeah.
always right in my face. And it's just like, okay, get out of here. And so we can have more adult conversations and more, like I think that maybe I've always been saying that because I've always said I don't like infants, and I don't. And like infants drive me nuts, just the amount of crying. You can't control an infant, I guess, is really what it comes down to. And I dislike that. Like my wife, she loves that. Like, oh, babies are the best thing ever. And I'm like, no. Even our best friend Steven, he loves babies. He's like the baby whisperer. And I'm like, I don't know how you can do this. But I've always said I have a hard rule. I won't take any of my nephews or nieces fishing until they're potty trained because I don't want to deal with that, right?
Hmm.
But then it's like, oh, I don't really want to. I don't really want to, interact with these kids till they have personality. Well, what does that mean, right? And so I feel like I've always been pushing it out further and further and further, and I
Hmm.
feel like now is the time where it's coming back to me like, oh, this is maybe what I meant, but how much have I missed?
Hmm.
Like for real. So I feel like that's one that I've struggled with. But so maybe that's the answer is like when I hear you say things about how you interact with your daughter in a way that's intentionally set up to be meaningful for her through the actions that you and Jen do. I mean, maybe that's one of them, right? That doesn't strike me as immediately obvious as admirable per se for this conversation, but it definitely would be if I was in the same boat, or if I had, I guess maybe I could redo it with my grandchildren. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, that's a great quality, and you seem to do it well as well as any parent would think they would do that job. But
Well, it's not nice you say. It certainly doesn't feel that way.
no, it never does.
Especially lately. My daughter had 0 timeouts in school, kindergarten, first grade, and second grade. This week, out of the 5 days, she had a timeout every day except for one. Like
Like for as a
something's starting to, something starting to come
classroom
off the
discipline.
rails.
Okay, she is.
Third
Oh,
grade.
oh, yeah, she's 8. No, I
Let me
was,
ask
but
you this,
yeah.
and maybe you just answered a little bit, but when you think of all the people that you know, think of the person who you deem as the most competent or the most proficient parent, or maybe the best parent.
Uh-huh.
Do you know anyone that you could like say, oh, that person has admirable parenting skills?
I mean, sure, everybody but me, right?
So then I guess what I would ask is what is something that those people are doing that you feel that you're not?
It's patience. It's all rooted in
Okay.
patience. I just
So
don't
is
have
that
patience.
so maybe
Yeah,
that's your answer right
I
there is
guess. I
yeah.
guess. I don't know. That's hard for me to quantify because I don't see that as an implementation. I see patience as, and I know that it can be learned, and it would take a long, long, long time for me to learn it as well as a lot of people just get it by default. But I don't feel like people purposefully implement patience. And I could be wrong,
Hmm.
but I feel like either you're a patient person or you're not, or you're somewhere in the middle. But
Yeah, I mean everybody's somewhere on
yeah, I
every
suppose.
continuum out there.
Yeah.
Um
But then there's problems with that too. Like
yeah,
my
that's
uncle
interesting.
didn't start having kids until he was old, like, well into adult. And he is a very patient person, him and my aunt both. But that reflected in the way that they parented their kids. And they had some turmoil for years
Yeah.
because they were overly patient. So then I'm like, well, see, that
Yeah.
doesn't really work there either.
Yeah,
So it's like,
certainly is no right answer for
yeah,
sure.
it's weird.
I ask high schoolers all the time, what can I do now to be a good father when my kids
Yeah.
are age? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we've shared this before, and the theme that just keeps coming up over and over again is spend time and listen, spend time
Yeah.
and listen, spend time and listen. And I think part of patient, at least for me, is what you taught me. WAIT. Why am I talking?
Yeah.
And I think being a patient person for me is listening to my daughter without providing a response.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you do well to, but you're intentional about doing it. Like I would never do that. So it's just like, at least you took that step to
I'm
have the
trying.
intention. I'm
Just
just
because I
like,
say it in front of a microphone doesn't
yeah,
mean I can actually
I'm just
do
like,
it.
shut up and go away. I don't even want to listen to you right now. So it's a good time. All right. That was
Well, it's nice to
good.
have you back, man. I'm glad
Yeah.
your travels to Wyoming and back were
Yeah.
safe.
Wyoming is
Sounds like
great.
you had a good time. Caught some fish, sent some great
Yeah.
photos.
I'm going to go back in winter and do some snowboarding there in the hills of Jackson Hole.
Oh,
It's going to be great.
lifetime bucket list for me. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
Well, I just
Yeah.
happen to know a guy that lives down there.
Hey, to all the listeners out there, thank you so very much for spending time with us. We so very much appreciate your ears. We do thank you for your time. We are incredibly grateful for your attention. I love doing this podcast. I love having these conversations with Todd. I love editing these episodes. I love interviewing people, and I love the feedback that y'all are giving. schoolingstruggle@gmail.com is where you can reach us. If you have any thoughts, ideas, perspectives on anything related to the podcast, if you know anyone that would be a really cool guest to interview, please reach out and let us know. We have a cool lineup coming up, but we're always looking for cool, interesting people to talk to that are finding ways to navigate their struggles. Thank you all so much.
See ya.